Okay, you ready?
Action.
And action. Hi folks, welcome back to Mike and Trisha Out and About. The purpose of this video, really, because we've come to the end of our holiday, haven't we, here in France?
We have.
We have been here for 10 weeks, and we did say at the start the purpose of this was not just to have a holiday in France. That was the main thing, obviously, wasn't it?
Yes.
But also to give the new camper van of ours, the SWIFT Carrera 144, a bit of a shakedown and see how we like it as well. See how it performed, what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and how we feel as well about being away in the van for 10 weeks. We've got a wee bit of a list, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We didn't really want to miss out things, so we've decided to jot it down here and just work our way through it. So the first thing is just around the outside of the van. Now, the big thing out there for us was the awning. We hadn't tried that before, had we?
No, we did have an awning in our previous van. However, it wasn't as wide. So this is a bigger awning.
Yeah, I mean, when we say awning, we mean one of these wind-out
Wind-out
canopies,
awnings, yeah.
the wind-out canopy.
Yeah.
And we did film that in one of our videos,
We did,
didn't we?
yes.
It was a little bit of a hassle. We made a little bit of a mess of it, but then
But that was the first time we did it, and it's slightly different, so that's acceptable.
Yeah, but we like it, don't we? There's loads of head height,
Yes.
and it gives us good coverage. The only thing I felt was that, you know, it's there to kind of block the sun, and it wasn't doing that because the sun was low, and the sun was just streaming in on us
Yeah,
all
it was
the
the
same.
time of year that we've been, like, obviously the sun is lower at this time of year, so we weren't getting the blockage. But we can come up with a solution for that.
You've got some ideas about
Yes,
that, haven't
I
you?
have. I'm probably going to make some kind of sun canopy or buy a sun canopy that actually attaches to the end of the awning and comes down.
Yeah, so that sounds good. We can show you that as and when we get
that
something.
done, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on the outside of the van? We seem to do fine, you know, with emptying the toilet cassettes, doing the wastewater.
Yeah, the water, everything was filling it up with water, everything's been fine.
Yeah.
We like the awning light because obviously we let Kira out. Sometimes we've got to switch it off, but that's okay as well.
Yeah, we've woken up in the mornings, oh, the awning light's
Yeah.
still on.
Yeah.
I bet we're not the only people that do that. So moving inside the van, where we are now, this little lounge area.
Front lounge.
What do you think about this?
I love having a front lounge, albeit that Kira hogs the seat that faces forward, and I have to push her over to try and get a seat. But yes, I do like having a front lounge. It's a good space because Mike at night will do his editing on his videos.
Yeah, I tend to do that in the evening.
And I can go up to the rear lounge and use that. We both sit at the table and have our dinner, so it's really good.
Yeah, it is. And like you say, Kira tends to monopolise that seat. What I like about it, you see how that is split
Yeah.
at the back there. So you've got like a lower seat and then you've got the backrests too.
Yeah.
It means that we can put a blanket in for Kira to protect the seats a little bit, and we can tuck it in so that it's all nice and neat, and Kira doesn't make a right old mess of our lovely new seats.
Yeah, and one of the benefits is it's two separate covers that we've got on it. So Kira tends obviously to mess the bottom cover up, so we can get that easily changed and we don't have to bother about the back one.
Yeah. And this whole area, it converts into a single bed as
Yes,
well.
we've not done that yet.
We've never done it. We don't really see the need to do it.
No. Maybe if I go away with my friend or Gemma decides to come with us when she's home, who knows? We might get a chance to use it, I don't know.
Possibly. So the next on the list is the kitchen.
Yes, the kitchen. So we were used to having a 2-burner. That's not been a problem for me whatsoever. And the small sink, and we had that in our previous van as well. I was quite happy with that. I love having hot water. So being able to put the boiler on and have instant hot, or not instant, hot water coming through has been really good for doing the dishes. The extension at the end has been excellent. I've been using that every time I've been cooking. So finding everything okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sink to me is on the small side. But you know,
We've managed, so
we've managed. You know, there's got to be compromises in a
Yes.
van like this because you know they are limited for space, and it is a small sink, but we've managed okay with it, haven't
I did
we?
bring a foldaway like big basin that I was intending on. I thought, well, I could do the dishes in that, but actually I never used it. I've been able to fit my plates and pots and everything, and been able to get everything cleaned in that sink.
Yeah, and you've used the oven a few times, the
Yes,
oven and grill.
Yeah, so we've got a little gas oven and grill in this van. The oven isn't brilliant, but I've found that if you tend to heat it up a wee bit, then you can get things heated through. And then what I've tended to do is put the grill on and then just grill the top of them, and it's worked well.
Yeah, it
Cheese and
has.
toast and pizza breads is amazing.
That's been our favourite, hasn't it? Definitely been our favourite. So moving on from the kitchen then is the fridge. One of my favourite things actually about this van has got to be that fridge.
Yeah. Big fridge. I like that it's high up as well, because we were used to having to crawl on our hands and knees and get in this tiny little fridge. So we do like having a high up fridge. Plenty of space in it. I did take out a couple of the racks that were in there. We started off, I think there was 4 racks in there, and I've taken out 2.
Yeah.
Just to give us a wee bit more space. And we've used the freezer. Brilliant having ice cream in the van. That I've loved. And then when we buy stuff, so if we buy chicken for Mike,
Yeah.
then if we buy, obviously it's maybe buy a pack and it's 2 or 3, then I can split them and I can put some in the freezer. So we've got that for, and my fish fingers go in the freezer as well.
Yeah, you like your fish fingers.
I do love my fish fingers.
Well, I just like having some beer in the fridge, and you know, I've tried not to like overtake the fridge with
No,
beer.
you've done well. You've done well. One in, one out.
Yeah, well, that tends to be what it is.
Yeah.
I usually have got 3 or 4 beers or something like that in the fridge, haven't I? But
Yeah.
if I take one out, I remember to put one in, and then that's fine. Next up, we are talking toilets. Toilets in the shower.
Yes.
Now, this was something new for us, and it wasn't initially on our wish list when we looked at camper vans, but the more we thought about it, we thought, well, yes, it's a toilet and shower room, but it's also someplace where you can hang wet coats,
Yes.
for example, if you're coming in out of the rain. I must admit, I love it now. I really, really like the little shower room. I do find that I'm maybe a little bit too big for it. Sometimes I kind of, if I'm sitting down on the loo, I kind of have to stick one of my knees out. It's got the tamper door that swings round.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting down in there, then it's a little bit tight, so my knee peeks out. But other than that, for me, the shower's great.
Yeah,
You
hot
know?
water's brilliant. Having a shower, I'm able to get in, do 2 rounds of washing my hair, condition my hair, have a shower, like wash. You give a lot of hot water, so it's really good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. The sink I didn't love at first. You remember that? I felt that the sink I thought it was broken the first time I saw it. It was sugary. But it was only when I really had a closer look at it, you realise there's another sink behind it. The water drains into that, and you just have to lift it up and down, and it's actually fine. It's a big sink, but it folds up flat to give you lots of room. So I didn't like it at first, but I definitely do like it now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good having the cabinet as well to keep our bits and pieces in.
Yeah. So what about the bed then? We've got the bed and the seating at the back.
The rear lounge.
Yeah, it came under a bit of criticism once we'd initially done the van tour video. Remember we did that at Loch
Yes, I
Lomond?
do, yeah.
And there was quite a lot of comments from people saying, what a load of hassle that is.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't be bothered with that, putting that bed up and down all of the time. But we did another video to show the bed and the sleeping arrangements generally, didn't we? And we're finding it so easy now to put the bed up and down.
Yeah, I find it exceptionally quick to put the bed up and down. I've never trapped my fingers, which someone was worried about. It's really, really easy. It means you can access the bottom cupboards, the drawers. If you need to get into the gas locker, it's so easy to have the bed up and things like that. Sometimes we just leave the bed down if I can't be bothered making it up. But yeah, I'm finding it all fine.
Yeah.
And I like having the rear lounge that I can go in, because I'm so small, I can sit in the rear lounge and put my feet up and just put a pillow behind me. It's great.
Yeah.
And I think you had a little nap one day.
I did only one day.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's with the it being the rear lounge rather than made up into a bed. You went
Yeah.
and curled up and you had a wee nap.
I did actually
I said to you it
on
was
one
good.
of the seats, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I didn't think it was going to be long enough for me. And I didn't really intend to have a nap, but then I just went back there to sit, and then before long I was lounging, and then I was completely
And snoozing,
lying down
yeah.
and snoozing away. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely working for us,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think probably what we'll do is we'll look to get a slimmer topper, because obviously we've got the thick topper, which is brilliant, the memory foam one, and you can roll that up. But it would be nice to sort of get it to be more compact.
Yeah.
So that you're not having to move it and it takes up a full seat. So it would
does,
be
pretty
easier
much.
to see if we can get something a bit more compact.
Or we might even decide not to have a topper at all.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because we did try sleeping on it without a topper, and it was comfortable.
Yeah, we've had some
It was
suggestions.
comfy.
So someone has suggested getting a second duvet and using that. So you would have you've got a duvet with a duvet cover on the bottom. So I think that's quite a good idea as well.
Yeah.
But we just have to wait and see what I come up with.
Then we've got cupboards and general storage in the
Yeah.
van. We really liked the cupboards. First of all, what drew us to this van, and what we particularly liked, was the style,
Yeah.
the stylish nature of the cupboards. They are, like you said, they're like airplane lockers, aren't they?
The way that they open.
They feel they've got that nice click when you close them over. They come up on the struts. There's lots of room inside them, so we really like them. And I've found that we can get a lot in these cupboards.
Yeah. I don't think, for us, having came from a small van into a bigger van, has been a problem with us for storage. We've been very, very happy with the storage. The only issue we have is with our big chairs.
Yeah.
And we've got the big Outwell chairs, which are really, really comfortable. However, we have to store them on the floor under the bed or at the back between the seats. And when you're wanting to sort of sit at the back, you've then got to move the chairs out the road. So for all the times we've really used the chairs on this trip, I think we might try, we've got these chairs that kind of pop up. They're in a little bag like this. I can't remember what they're called, but they pop up. So we might try them because they're just as comfortable.
They're comfortable. They're
not as comfortable.
They're
but
not as comfortable, but they're maybe more suitable.
Yeah, because they're in a small bag about that.
Yeah.
So they're quite small, compact. So we'd easily get them in one of the cupboards or under the bed or anything like that. Yeah, very, very easy.
Yeah. I think we'll definitely look at that.
Yeah. The other thing I feel is the cupboards. It's like a locker. So we've found, particularly at the front here, that maybe if it was middle shelved, it would be easier to have little things on the top and then bigger things at the bottom. So that I've seen different people doing things, so I'm going to have a go at doing something.
Yeah, I think we probably will do something. Not on all the cupboards.
No.
It might just be one or two.
Yeah, I think definitely these two.
Where we decide.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be quite good.
Being split.
To have a split shelf in there.
Yeah. And the wardrobe, we've not used it. We had intended to keep our coats in there, and we did start off doing that.
Yeah.
But then we just thought, no, we'll not bother.
Yeah.
So we stored clothes, one of the clothes boxes in there. So I think we're maybe going to look at what we can do with that to better utilise it.
Nearly there. Something very close to my heart. And we've talked about this really until we're blue in the face, is the gas situation now in the van, and the fact that we've got these 3.9 kilogram bottles that go underneath one of the seats in the rear lounge. Well, we've definitely decided now we are going to go and get an underslung gas tank,
LPG tank,
fitted. So the chances are when our next video comes out, we're going to have had that done. So you know, watch out for that. The good thing about it is, it's twofold really. It'll give us more gas capacity by having an underslung tank. We'll have a 20 litre tank.
So on this trip we had our 3.9 flow gas tank, and we bought a camping gas 907. Camping gas 907. And I think a couple of times we had the heating on and used the gas as a booster, because that's when we had the snow in that video. It was really cold, so we
Yeah.
used the gas as a booster. We have fully used the camping gas one, and we're now on to the flow gas. We don't know how much is left in the flow gas, so that gives you an idea of how long. So that's over 10 weeks. We started with the flow gas. I think within a week we had bought a 907 and we used that, and I think that lasted about 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's we're using it as for the heating as a booster with the electric.
Yeah.
And I've been using the hob, and I've been using the oven, and I've been using the grill.
It's going to vary depending on where you are. For example, if it's Scotland and we decided to go away when it's cold in the winter, we might be using it quite a bit more if we were wild camping
Yeah.
rather than being on campsites.
Yes.
So we want to be able to sort of cover all of these eventualities by having a little bit more gas capacity in the van.
And
So,
I think what will be good as well with the LPG, the underslung one, is you get a gauge.
yeah, you can get a gauge fitted so you know exactly how much
Yeah.
gas you've got. Whereas at the moment,
You
we've
have to take the bottle and shake it.
given the bill, well, is there any gas still left in that one? The other thing is it will give us that extra storage in the van. We'll be
Yes.
able to reclaim that space underneath one of the seats where the
quite
gas
big,
locker
covered,
is.
yeah.
It is quite big. So we might be able to put our bedding in there.
Yes.
Maybe we can put these smaller chairs in there.
Just
Maybe when we're
decide.
going back from France, we'll be able to put lots of bottles of wine in there.
Yeah, it'll keep them cool.
Yeah, so, there's lots of
Yeah.
benefits, I think. Okay, so what about the actual power management, the actual display in the van? What do you think about that? We've got the dashboard display, which shows us what all of the levels are for the van, the things like your fluids and your power levels for
Yeah,
your
the
leisure
waste,
battery,
everything.
your van battery. What do you think about that?
I like it because it's very visual in one go, and you just press a button and see everything. I know that the new Carreras have a smaller digital display. I would imagine that the digital display will be more accurate, because we're finding that when we check it and we think, oh yeah, we're okay for water, or like our waste levels are okay, next thing we know, Michael washes hands and then it'll go beep, 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 and we know we have
Yeah.
to empty it.
So it goes from being a quarter full to being empty.
Yeah.
It doesn't, there's
There's
not a
no-
bar
yeah.
that actually gives you a gauge where it shows you a bit more accurately
Yeah.
how much water you've got in the van. So I think the new ones will be better than the one that we've got if it's a proper digital display. That's really it in terms of the van. Yeah, what we like about the van and what we might potentially change in future. But what about us? How have we felt about being away in this van for 10 weeks?
When I think now that we're on the home straight, I think, oh yeah, it was fine, it was good. I need to remember how I felt 2 weeks ago, because I said to Mike, I wish we could just go home now, because I really had enough of being in a van. It sounds really, because we have lots of space in the van, and I'm quite comfortable in the van.
Yeah.
But I just felt I wanted to go home, because we've brought 10 weeks worth of clothes for changing, which is probably too much, because we didn't realise
10 days worth of clothes.
Oh,
10 weeks. I mean, come on, Trisha. Even
True.
even
I know,
that's a bit
no,
too
no.
much for you.
10 days worth of clothes for the 10-week period. I didn't realise how convenient the laundrettes or laveries are in France, because they're everywhere. In the UK, we're used to having our own washing machines in the houses, but over here, I think they can tend to use the laveries. So we probably could have brought less clothes. However,
Definitely could have brought less clothes.
I am getting fed up wearing the same clothes, even on rotation.
Yeah.
The trousers, like wearing my walking trousers, and it's just, I feel like I want a change of clothes.
Well, I mean, like you, and I don't know if this was some of your sentiments rubbing off on me or what, but I got to about week 7 or 8, and I just started to feel I'm missing certain things about being at home. It's just the whole space thing that you've got when you're in your own home.
Yeah.
and the big telly and be able to lounge back and watch a movie if I want to, being able to go out more with Kira, with her pals, you know, so you miss your pals, you miss your friends and family. And after it was about week 7 or 8, I was starting to feel a little bit weary of it, but I kept going. And
well, we've got here. We had to keep going because we were all booked
we were all
on the
booked
tunnel.
to
We've
go
got
back.
things happening when we get back to the UK that we've got to go to.
Absolutely, we have. And, you know, during this stay, we've done, including this one, we'll have done 18 videos in the time that we've been here. So I must say I have enjoyed making the videos, and it's taken the number of videos on the channel over to 100. So it's been a little bit of a milestone for us. But, you know, I'm not a full-time, we're not full-time YouTubers.
No.
We're not full-time van lifers. We only do videos when we're away on these holidays. It gives us memories to look back on, and hopefully you enjoy watching them too. But we're not full-timers, are we? And we like to do other things too. So come the summer, we're going to certainly have a break from filming for a little while. So you might not see us for certainly a few weeks after this video, but I mean, we will be back with other videos, and we'll, once we refresh ourselves, I think, a little bit and just spend a little bit of time back home.
Yeah. So I think maybe 10 weeks is too much for me.
I think probably we'll cap it at seven to eight weeks in future. Is there anything else that you would change about the van? You mentioned the sat nav.
Yes. So the sat nav we are using is just Google Maps. So we've got the app on the phone, the van links up, and we're able to use that. However, there has been occasions where Google has taken us down some really, we've been able to manage them, small roads. And we just feel that on Google Maps, you can't put in the length or height of your vehicle. And we're constantly checking when you come up to bridges or you're coming up to barriers or anything like that, what is the height? So I would like to get some kind of app, sat-nav app, that I could use on my phone, that I'm able to put in the length of the vehicle and the height of the vehicle so that we can avoid any sort of narrow roads. So if anybody is using any kind of app on their phone, we don't want to get an actual sat-nav like a TomTom or anything like that.
No, it uses Android Play.
Yeah.
You know, you can get Apple Play or Android Play. Well, this is what the van has. We use Android phones. So anything that can go on our phone, which we can then link onto the display on the van. But like Tricia says, if it's something that we could actually specify the length and the height of our vehicle,
because I've had a look and there are lots of them, but if anyone has had good experience with one, can recommend one, I'd like to hear from you and just let me know and I'll have a look at it.
Yeah. Anything else that you wouldn't take? I don't think we would need to take Kira's bed in future.
No, we've got like this little soft cushiony bed that we usually sit, if we're sitting outside, we put it outside and she would sometimes lie on it.
Yeah, and in the evenings we put it in the front footwell in the passenger's side, because that's where she used to sleep when we were in Maggie most of the time. And so we put it there thinking Kira would sleep there, but actually,
as soon as she saw the bed, she was like...
Yeah, she's like, the bed, I'm up there. I mean, she has on occasion slept for a little while
on this seat,
on the seat here. More often than not, she's coming along and she's jumping up, isn't she, onto the bed in the middle of the night. And
so I don't think we'd take that, because we're tending to take it out the front footwell, put it back in the front foot, you know, so it's something that you're constantly moving backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
And I think we've got chocks for the van, but they've got the added wee bits. We've never used them, have we?
No.
Even with Maggie, we never ever used them.
We weren't even sure what they're for, because
I think they're to stop the wheel rolling back.
Well, I think you can put them at the back of the wheel, but we've never used them. And you see other people using ramps, and nobody else seems to use them either. So
so I think the other things that we'd probably leave.
Yeah,
take the chocks, but leave the wee bits extra.
Aye, absolutely, yeah. So do you know what? I think we're there. I'm sorry about rabbiting on for quite a while, but we wanted to try and cover everything for you. I mean, it's quite good exercise for us just going through this process. And we'll probably watch this video back and say, right, here's all the things that we're going to do. We've got them written down anyway, haven't we?
You have. You have written it down.
So when are we going to be back on people's screens? it will be sometime later in the summer.
Yeah, probably. I think June we're maybe thinking of going away.
We'll possibly get away around
Hopefully.
about that time.
Depending on the weather, we'll be looking at the weather and see what everything's like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do hope you've enjoyed the France series of videos, and look out for the next ones. If you've not already given us a subscribe, then please do remember to hit the subscribe button, and you'll make sure you watch us. You'll catch us on the next one when we come along.
Yep.
Right, see you folks.
Bye.
Ta-da. Now, remember that you are not doing that or that. You got it? Is that the money shot? Yeah.